All right, getting started with our test review today, we're just going to go through a few questions. We're going to start with question number 3. Of course, we're going to skip around and just try to hit kind of one of everything. Question number 3 is a slide and divide. I can tell that because it's got 3 pieces with the number out front, which makes things more complicated. So I'll need to slide that to the back and use multiplication and make sure I take advantage of my negative signs. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. Okay, negative 36 and 5, and I'll use Desmos to help me with these two numbers. I'll need to figure out which ones add together and which ones multiply together. They add to make the middle number 5, and they multiply to make the end number negative 36. If you forget this negative, you're going to be in all kinds of trouble, as you can see. So make sure you have the negative so you can see where they touch, which is negative 4 and positive 9. X minus 4, x plus 9. And we're not done yet. We did the slide, but now we need to finish with the divide. So take the number out front and divide by 6. Use Desmos to check your fractions and put the bottom number in front. So 4 over 6 fraction is 2/3, so put the bottom in front, 3x minus 2. I'm just keeping the sign the same that it was before. And then 9 over 6, put the bottom number in front. This time, instead of, let's see here, instead of 2 over 3, we're actually 3 over 2. So this time, I need to put the 3, nope, the 2 in front. Come on, Mr. Carr. Double distracted myself. The bottom number in front, which should be 2x plus 3. I kind of froze myself because I realized I put the 9 second, which normally I've been putting the 9 first, but not a big deal. Now, once we get this far, if you're ever sure, maybe you're like me and you almost made a mistake and you're like, uh-oh, something was kind of funky here. If you ever want to check, do the first 2 multiplied to make the first number. Is 3 times 2, 6? Yes. And if you want to be extra sure, do the last 2, make the last number. Negative 2 and 3 make negative 6? Yes. So this answer is good and it's verified. This answer looks great. That is a slide and divide. Take your time. Obviously, I kind of almost goofed up a little bit. Just put the bottom number out front. The 2 goes in front. Moving down to number 5, I want to do this question because it has a fraction in it. Okay? Now, fractions don't actually make things harder. They just make things look a little scarier. 9 is a perfect square. 121 is a perfect square. 49 is a perfect square. And so everything looks nice and perfect. I'm going to put my parentheses. One of them's a minus, one of them's a plus. I'm going to go one piece at a time. I know this has a fraction, but that's okay. If 9 is the top of the fraction, then I'm going to split that up to a 3 and 3, which will be the top of the fraction. And then I'll go to the bottom. 121, which is 11 and 11, just going to be the bottom of the fraction. Everything just stays exactly where it is. X squared just means each side gets 1 because half of 2 is 1 and 1. And then lastly, 49 makes 7 and 7. Now, question number 7 is the last one we're going to do together on the front. And I cannot stress this enough. This is the hardest question. This is the one that's going to require you to do the most math, to use the biggest variety of things, and straight up, this is the one that we had the hardest time with. So, number 7, if I was you, I would make sure I pay attention to this. It is not it is not slide and divide, because I only have 2 pieces, 1, 2. I don't have 3. I can't use this kind of stuff with my x plus y, x times y, because that always requires 3 things, like 1, 2, 3. So down here, I know it's not going to be slide and divide. It's going to be difference of squares. That's where I make my parentheses and do a minus and a plus. But when I look at this, is 7 a perfect square? No. Or what about x power 5? Can I split that in half? Nope. Or what about 175? Nope. Or what about x cubed? Nope. None of this looks good. And so we're going to have to do difference of squares where nothing is a perfect square. So what we're going to have to do instead is start with GCF. Now GCF is pulling out what they have in common, and our hope and what will happen every time is that once we pull out what they have in common, all the leftovers will sneakily become perfect. So 7 and 175 on Desmos, you can use GCF parentheses 7 comma 175, and we're getting 7 as our GCF. Now before you move on, our letters also didn't work. We had 5 and 3. Those are odd numbers, so we need to take out some x's as well. Do they both have 1 x? Yes. Do they both have 2 x's? Yes. Do they both have 3 x's? Yes. Do they both have 4 x's? No. So x3 is the most that we can take out. This is our GCF. Now the question's not over because we still want to factor. So we're going to need parentheses and figure out what's left. Basically, we need to divide what we used to have by the GCF. And so what is 7 divided by 7? 1. And what is x power 5 divided by x power 3? You use subtraction, so it's going to be x power 2. And you can notice already these are looking like perfect squares. We have a 1, that's perfect. An x squared, that's perfect. And then what is 175 divided by 7? Hopefully this is a perfect square number. 25, exactly what we wanted. And then we have x3 divided by x3, or x cubed divided by x cubed. What is 3 minus 3? 0. So we're not going to put any x's here. I'm going to do one more question on the back, then I'll get you going. Okay, now we're still not done yet because we still have not factored with difference of squares. We still have this piece to factor. Once we've got this far, this is guaranteed an easy question. Once we're this far, there's nothing difficult to finish. We've already finished the green border. We've already finished the hard part. I'm going to, first of all, make sure that this x and 7 and all that stuff stays with me. I'm just going to bring it down and leave it out front, and then I'm going to do my difference of squares. One of them's a minus, one of them's a plus. 1 and 1, x and, oh, x, bad handwriting, sorry. And then 5 and 5. None of these steps are super difficult, but it is a combination of a few different skills that kind of normally just get us twisted up a little bit. The very last one we're going to do together, flip it over to the back. I'm going to just work on question number 13. Write the equation of the graph. So the full process for this is first figure out the roots. Where does it touch the x-axis? Never, ever, ever the y-axis. What are those numbers? -1 and +5. Then I will flip those into factors. And factors use parentheses, not equal signs, x plus 1 and x minus 5. Factors are kind of the opposites of roots. And then, if I want my equation, which is y equals, I'm going to need to FOIL. And if I'm foiling, I'm going to make sure that I distribute 2 things and get 2 things, and then distribute the last one and get 2 more things. So, what is x times x? every single time it's x squared. What is x times negative 5? Negative 5x. What is 1 times x? 1x. Just put the number first. And then lastly, this is the one time we actually have to multiply things. 1 times negative 5. Negative 5. Make sure that you're multiplying and you are not adding in this last position. I've seen a lot of mistakes here. Now that we're there, we're pretty much done. The middle two need to be combined together. If you're not sure, just use Desmos. Negative 5 plus 1, which it says is negative 4. And so our answer should be x squared minus 4 minus 5. And we talked about this in the warm-up. Make sure that this middle term has an x, because a lot of people have been forgetting this x, and that is a small little mistake. Okay, there is all the different types of questions that you might see on the test. We did 4 total right here. Didn't take us very long to go through them, even as the teacher was kind of teaching. Number 7 is the one. Look at number 7. Think about number 7. It will be there tomorrow. There will be quite a few students who missed this question. So study it, practice it, take it serious. That's all I got.